Chapter 116. Right. Thanks for telling me. Take this. Oh, you shouldn't have. It's not just a handout. You have to hide it well so that he doesn't notice. That won't be as easy as you think, sir. Even as the servant spoke those words, he didn't refuse the money. Revlin gazed upwards at a window in a room on the third floor of the annex. The light completely concealed by thick curtains, and murmured a name under his breath. Neon. His lips quivered madly at uttering the name. The boy let out a long breath, clenching his fists tightly. The harvest festival will soon start. When it does, I'll be free from my close guard. I'll be able to move without his watchful eyes. Just hold on a little longer. Sir, you must leave now. The shift change is about to end and someone will come. Turning around, the old servant gestured sternly. Revlin flipped his hat back on and quickly turned away. The area behind the annex became silent as if nobody had ever been there. The first event of the Harvest Festival, always held in the capital, was the Grand Parade. The Grand Parade was a massive procession circling the entire capital, involving the Imperial Knights, Imperial Mages, specially selected elite Imperial troops, and renowned knightly orders from various regions, along with other famous figures from across the continent. To be able to participate in the parade, and an event that brought together the largest crowds and was eagerly anticipated, was a great honor that could be boasted for generations. This year, the news that the cavalry, led by the specially invited Duke Kishir Laor of Palatum, would participate in the parade had surprised many, and depending on their interests, someone hoping for a cavalry's success and others for its failure. I can't believe I'm here to participate in the parade. Ydir looked at Kana, who was mumbling next to him. She stood proudly at the front of about 10 members of the cavalry. Despite her band being slightly skewed, indicating her position as the deputy commander, she seemed oblivious to it, appearing half-dazed. I'm nervous. Despite all the practice, I feel like my hands and feet are shaking now that I'm really here. What if I fall while walking? What if I make a mistake and the cavalry becomes a laughing stock? Don't worry, have you forgotten? Ydir nonchalantly spoke as he straightened her band. The moment we start walking, we will create a wind barrier so that even if we try to fall, we won't be able to. Ah, right. I forgot. Kana nodded endlessly, her mouth gaping as if she had just remembered. Kana wasn't the only member who was worried about falling during the parade. Therefore, Kishir and Ydir decided to call it a member of the Sul division with wind power who had a particularly calm personality to wrap the members' legs in wind throughout the parade. In truth, Kishir had some doubts about the effectiveness of this, but Ydir's past experiences assured him that the method had certainly worked. It's a win if it doesn't get worse. Wind, for instance, may not be practically helpful, but the stability that it offers can soothe the members' hearts. It was all about calming a mind. This was a method I used when I first became the commander in my previous life. Well, it worked well back then. However, the difference was that back then Ydir was the one who used the wind, and this time it wasn't. All Ydir hoped for was that the member who decided to use the power of the wind would do their job properly. Kana? Ydir? Just as he was gently patting the slightly calmed down Kana's back, a bright voice came from behind. A bit behind the main row where the Shin division had gathered. Standing right next to the other members was Jimmy, his eyes sparkling with a smile. "You're really, really cool today." Jimmy, who had manifested his second gender, stood up, dusting himself off on the third day. The boy who had completed his manifestation was now a perfect alpha. Although many were worried about his manifestation at such a young age, Jimmy rather enjoyed it. In the few days of preparing for the Harvest Festival, Yudir, who was so busy that he couldn't even get proper sleep, felt like he was finally seeing Jimmy's face properly today. "Somehow it doesn't feel like it's just me. Hasn't he grown a bit in the meantime? Hasn't his uniform sleeve gotten a bit short? When we get back, I will have to get it mended right away." In participation for today's march, all members had dressed up smartly in their black uniforms. Those who requested personal weapons all had new weapons bestowed in the name of Kishir. The members, freed from the predicament of having to carry worn-out training weapons, had faces full of excitement and tension. Yudir, seeing the beautiful high-quality scabbard hanging around Jimmy's waist, gave a faint smile. In fact, a very similar sword was hanging around Yudir's own waist. It had been personally bestowed upon him by Kishir the night before. However, unlike the other members' sword, made of well-refined high-grade iron, Yudir's was a little special. That's because it was a sword made from eucalyptium, one of the materials that Thais Yulman, the elder mage of the Pearl Tower, had requested from Kishir a while ago to use as a medium to contain the power of the redstone. Eucalyptium, a rare material occasionally discovered in unexpected places, was similar to iron but became incomparably hard when refined. Its ability to accept magic power was also excellent, so it was often used as a material for magic tools rather than swords. Nevertheless, it was clear that it was one of the best materials for making swords. "There is no need to give me such a good sword. As long as it doesn't look any different from what the other members got, it's fine. The average person wouldn't recognize it. Surely you don't expect my assistant to carry a training sword even during the parade, do you?" Yudir received the sword from Kishir with a mix of emotions. On the inside of the scabbard, painted black to avoid drawing the enemy's attention, was an ancient language drawn beautifully in white, blessing and wishing for martial luck. As Yudir stared at it, Kishir opened his mouth with a soft smile. "Do you see the empty slot inside the scabbard?" "Ah, yes." Just as he said, there was a strange groove at the very bottom of the white motif that could be felt when touched by a finger. "Where's the gemstone I detached from the divine sword before?" "It's here as well." Kishir's eyes narrowed slightly at the sight of Yudir pulling out a red gemstone from the pocket of his uniform. His demeanor seemed to imply that he expected this. "What are you going to do if you drop it while carrying it around like that?" "I had no other ways but to keep it by my side all the times. I have yet to lose it. Isn't that okay?" "It's not okay. That's why I ordered to make a slot in the scabbard so that you can fit it in. Now attach it." Only then did Yudir realize what role the groove inside the scabbard was intended to play, and he was surprised. When he carefully inserted the red gemstone, it fit perfectly, as if it was made for it from the beginning. Now it's complete. Indeed, the existence of the red gemstone meant Yudir's sword was fully completed. Although the gemstone was placed where it would not be noticeable unless one paid close attention, Yudir was satisfied with it. He preferred it this way, as being too conspicuous could cause dissatisfaction among the other members. "Thank you." You have been reducing your sleep for days, running around preparing for the festival. To be honest, I wanted to give you something better, but that was the best I could do on short notice. This is more than enough. I thought you would say that. Kishir sighed, shaking his head slightly, and smiled. Yudhir, who was absent-mindedly fiddling with the sword hilt while reminiscing about what had happened last night, glanced at Kishir, who was chatting with the Imperial Knight Commander and the Chief Imperial Mage up ahead. Wearing white gloves embroidered with gold thread and a flawless golden hair stylishly swept back to reveal a smooth forehead, he looked as if he was born for this day. His tall stature stood out from a distance, and he wore a dazzling white uniform brighter than ever. Just watching him gave one a dizzying sensation. Indeed, many people were sneaking glances at Kishir and losing their wits. He was as beautiful as he appeared, but like Yudhir, he had hardly slept and had been preparing for today. While his fatigue didn't show like it did under Yudhir's eyes, he must have been quite tired. Yudhir, Khana, you're here. Gakane. Just then, another tall young man entered Yudhir's field of vision, obscuring Kishir. Gakane, looking neatly than usual with his red hair tied back with a black silk ribbon and a brilliant aura about him, reminiscent of a prince from an old tale. Wow, Gakane, you look like a real noble lord now. As Khana openly admired his appearance, Gakane, who was indeed from a distinguished family of nobility since birth, gave a perplexed smile and scratched his head. Is that a compliment? Of course. At Khana's playful words, Gakane, smiling, turned to Yudhir. His gaze drifted momentarily towards Yudhir's hand, covered by a black glove, then quickly returned as if nothing happened.